Hey everyone, welcome to Vegas Showbiz. I am Michael Pellegrini, and it is my pleasure to be joined by Las Vegas magician and comedian Adam London.
Yay.
We're hanging out at the venue at the Orleans in Las Vegas. Adam's got a show coming up in a little bit, so I want to be respectful of your time, but very excited to hear about your career coming up as a performer.
Okay.
So let's just start way back. I want to get to Vegas, but where did it all begin for you?
The farm. We'll start at the farm.
Okay.
So my grandpa was a farmer.
Okay.
And he was an amateur magician. And he would get me to come over to do yard work and teach me magic tricks.
Okay.
And so he was not a very good magician, but enough to teach an 8-year-old
Sure.
magic. And so I spent a lot of time over there, and my pay was magic tricks.
Nice.
So I learned a bunch of card tricks, and he had a great sense of humor. And kind of fast forward, here we are today.
Okay, so it started on the magic side,
Yeah.
and the comedy kind of grew from there.
Yeah.
Okay. When did it start becoming more of a profession?
That's a good question. So I would say when I got to college, I had a great theater. My degree is in musical theater from UNLV.
Nice.
My parents are so happy.
I'm a musician too.
Are you good for you? That's awesome. So anyway, I was over there, and one of my theater professors was like, oh, why don't you do funny magic?
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, I've always kind of, like, I don't have the body type for like David Copperfield. You know what I mean? Like this doesn't, you know, it just doesn't work. So he's like, why don't you do funny magic? And I was like, I've always kind of had funny magic to begin with, but then we stuck with funny magic, and then I did comedy clubs throughout after I graduated college, and here we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long have you been performing here at the venue?
So we've been here at the venue for 2 years now.
Nice.
It's been fantastic. We were downtown for a time. For 7 years, and then we came over here for the last 2 years, and we loved it.
So 7 years. So was that your first gig in Vegas?
And that was my first gig. So I used to perform at a lot of the comedy clubs here in town. So
Okay.
the Improv Comedy Club at Harrah's. I was at Brad Garrett's when he was over at the Tropicana.
Oh, sure.
I was a comedy stop at the Trop at one time. I was at the LA Comedy Club that used to be over at, I can't even remember, Planet Hollywood, and now they're over at the Stratosphere. So I just did comedy clubs here in town,
Right.
and then comedy clubs on the road, and down at the Magic Castle in Hollywood, and the Improv down in LA.
And no magic in those, right?
No, I was doing magic.
Oh, you
yeah.
were? Oh, I wasn't
yeah.
sure. Okay,
No,
okay.
always doing magic.
Always
but
doing-
like
okay.
that was the cool thing about it is, you know, I was like a unique act, and so my act was funny enough to be in a comedy club, but yet cool enough to like still be like magic. Because there's a lot of comics out there that are like, oh, we're purists. You know, you can't be a prop comic. You can't do magic. That's prop comedy. Like, you have to be a purist. Well, they're like, oh, well, he's funny, and he does magic. So
Right.
yeah.
It's entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of prop comics, I just went and saw Carrot Top, and that
Yeah.
was hilarious. I mean,
Yeah,
that guy's
he's
been
great.
killing it forever doing that
Yeah,
stuff.
from like the 80s,
Right,
when I was a
exactly.
kid.
Star Search,
Yeah, that's
Ed
right.
McMahon.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, old school.
Yeah.
So I've noticed that one of your favorite props that you use is a rubber ducky.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah.
They're everywhere.
How did that come about? Tell me the story there.
Okay, so I when I was years ago when I was in at UNLV, there was this really great guy, and he was my dentist.
Okay.
And I had to get a root canal on my birthday. Like, this is the only time I ever had a root canal. That was the only time that he could get it done, was on my birthday. And I was like, oh. He goes, don't worry, I'll bring you a present.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, he gave me this tie.
Okay.
And he's like, you're kind of a quacky guy. And so I was like, oh my gosh, that was so great. So I started wearing it around to like church events and different activities. And people always complimented me on my tie.
Yeah.
And then it just became part of the show.
Nice.
Yeah.
Stuck with it ever
Yeah.
since. And has it always been kind of more of a family-friendly show for you?
Oh my gosh, yeah. This is 100% the familiest, friendliest show in town. So, in fact, yesterday we were doing the show here, and I always try to choose like kids 4 and up for this specific trick. But I had a little 2-year-old girl, and she was the only kid in the audience. And I asked her if she wanted to come up. Never done this before with a 2-year-old. She came right up. She stood there, answered my questions. She was super cute.
No way.
She got more of a reaction from the audience than I did with my trick, but it was I still got him with the trick.
Sure, of course.
But the cuteness
That's
factor,
the magic,
right?
Yeah, you can't plan for that.
No, so she was super cute. So yeah, we get little kids in here.
Yeah.
Get people on stage. I like to. It's fun having the teenagers too, because like I give them a hard time.
Sure.
You know, everybody likes to make fun of teenagers.
Sure.
they like being made fun of too, even though they don't admit it. But
They won't admit
yeah,
it.
Yeah,
Right.
But it's just, there's something for everybody in this show.
Yeah, and you bring part of your own family into it as well, some of the jokes and stuff, right?
Yeah. So my wife, she'll be mad at me for saying this, but my wife, she's written a couple of the jokes that are in the show.
Okay.
And so I always give her credit because she always reminds me, hey, I wrote that joke, and I'm like, yeah, you wrote the bad ones. She didn't write the bad ones. She wrote all the good ones.
Nice.
All the ones that are funny.
Now, that actually reminds me of a question I had been thinking about, which is new content creation. How frequently are you adding new stuff to the show?
That's a good question. So, like, I perform for the Las Vegas libraries, like the local library, the Clark County Libraries District.
Okay.
In the summers, I've done that for the last couple of years. And it's fun going out and trying out new material there,
right,
and then bringing it in here. So occasionally I'll try something new in here, but for the most part I try to do it somewhere else and then bring it in here to like perfect it and then bring it in here.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I'm always curious about with performers, obviously when you were coming up, practice was incredibly important to you. Now you're getting practice on stage all the time. Do you still find yourself having to practice much in your free time, or is it just kind of like on autopilot at this point for you?
Ooh, that's a good question. So autopilot is, so one of my favorite comedians, a guy by the name of Peter Berman, and he still performs, and if he's watching this, he'll probably be embarrassed, but Peter Berman told me, he's like, always work. Never get in a moment where you're just like autopilot.
Okay.
Then it's boring.
Sure.
Like, what are you doing this for?
Right.
And so he's like, never go into autopilot. You know, it's like Taylor Swift doesn't go into autopilut. You know, all these people that are selling out these massive concerts, they don't go into autopilot. They're there to perform.
Feeling it.
Yeah, they're feeling it.
Okay.
And so he's like, never get to the point where you're like, ugh. Because if you do get to that point, then like change up your act or like do something else, right?
Right.
So autopilot is something that I have found myself that I've kind of just gone in through the motions. I'm like, no, you got to get out of that.
Yeah.
Because over time you start losing people, and then they're like, this isn't as fresh as it should be.
So it's more fun for you then as well.
Yeah. And that's what's fun about this is like the interaction with the audience. Like you'll get some people up here on stage that will take you in a completely different direction, and you just kind of go with it, and it's fun. So the audience always changes for me, so I'm ready for whatever happens up here.
You're kind of reading the room, getting a feel for who's out there, and then kind of going with that.
Yep.
Okay. Any cringe stories? Ever have something go incredibly wrong on stage?
Yes,
or last
many.
time?
So we had years ago, we had a girl on stage that was just kind of doing the dance.
Okay.
But she wanted to be on stage.
Okay.
And I looked at her, I was like, do you need to go to the bathroom? And she goes, no, I don't. I was like, you sure? She goes, yeah. So we're still doing the trick. And then I turn and I'm doing something, I turn back around and there's a puddle.
No.
Around her, yeah. And I was like, oh. Anyway, the audience was kind of like in shock, but she had like a funny sense of humor about it. She's probably 9 or 10. And her mom was like, let's go to the bathroom. So they took off to the bathroom. I didn't know what else to do. I was like, okay, what do you guys want to do now? Like, I was in the middle of a trick. So they were pretty quick getting to the bathroom and then coming back in. And she walked right back on stage. She's like, okay, where were we? And I was like, okay, here we go. So that was the cringe moment, a cringe moment. We mopped up the puddle and just carried on with the show.
The show must go on.
The show must go on, but like the mom was cool. The daughter was cool. I think one of the people that was at the box office brought her a T-shirt just cover up.
Wow.
So they didn't see her pants all wet. But yeah, so that was probably that was pretty cringy for an audience member. What's cool about the Orleans is it's at 4:00, so we get a lot of people here that are like, how do I say this without being disrespectful or rude? We get a lot of people here that are older. Okay. I was gonna use a different term, but that are older, and they don't drink a lot.
Okay.
And this show works with alcohol or not with
right.
alcohol. But downtown, we had drunks all the time at 4:00 in the afternoon.
Sure.
So they would shout out crap that was just like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And I think another cringy thing is when an adult is being belligerent and gross when there's like a child in the room. Then it's like, like be respectful of the parents of the kid and the that's helping out on stage. But if it was all adults, I'd roll with it. But when 9 times out of 10, not even 9 times out of 10, 98% of the time we have kids in the audience.
Sure. So there's a better environment for that than downtown on
Yeah.
Fremont.
Yeah, I love it here. They've been awesome. The Orleans has been great.
Yeah, that's awesome. And how many days a week? Is this like a 5-day-a-week thing?
So we do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and
Okay.
on if we have a Monday holiday weekend, we'll do a 5th show.
Okay.
On that Monday. So yeah,
Nice.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and some Mondays is what we say.
And is it a 1-hour show for you?
1 hour. What's about an hour and 5 minutes, depending on the audience. Like,
Sure.
if you get somebody who's up here and you're having fun with them, it tends to go a little bit longer, an hour and 10 minutes. But,
Okay.
Yep.
You ever get anybody that performs elsewhere to come in and guest with you or anything like that? Or vice versa? You ever get to go do anything like that?
Yeah. So, good friend of mine, he has a comedy club, and I'll occasionally show up at his venue and just pop in and do a set. I try to take something that I've never done before,
Right.
in front of a different audience. A couple friends have popped in before, and they'll be like, "Hey, can I get a little stage time?" I was like, "Yeah, come on in. Take 5 minutes," and so they've come in and taken 5 minutes. But it's not something that we do all the time. But if I my friend Niels Dunker is a world record holder,
Oh, wow.
Guinness World Record holder for juggling. So if he's ever in town, he's from Amsterdam.
Cool.
From Holland, and so if he's here, he'd be like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Come on up." And that guy can juggle anything.
Really?
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah, he's really cool.
So wood shopping is what they call it, right? When you're getting out there kind of
Yeah,
testing it out?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And you mentioned the music thing earlier with your studies. I'm curious because, again, I'm a musician as well. Do you still play? What do you play?
No, so musical theater, so like
theater.
Broadway.
Oh,
yeah.
gotcha. I kinda
There's
missed that
no business. So
Nice.
yeah, musical theater. So theater classes with music. Your Barbara Streisands,
Yeah,
and Carol
yeah.
Burnett's, and
Good times.
Yeah.
Projecting to the back of the room.
that's right.
and all
That's
that
right.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm thinking about younger viewers that might be inspired, might want to get into magic, that sort of thing. Any advice that you would give to the younger audience out there that kind of wants to follow in your footsteps?
You know what my good friend Matt King used to say? Skip it and go to law school. I always thought that was a great line. But I'm like, no, go and do this. Like, what if you're the next great David Copperfield? What if you're the great next Siegfried and Roy? Like,
Sure.
We don't know. Like, why wouldn't you want to try it out?
Yeah.
So so my grandpa was like the inspiration for me to get involved in magic.
Yep.
And then I'd go to the local library and just pick up books on magic and just read from the books,
Right.
learn different magic tricks. Everywhere I went, like at high school or junior high, I always had a trick in my pocket to like show somebody and be like, "Hey, let me show you this." And sometimes I'd screw it up, but oftentimes I'd get it right.
Yeah.
And it was fun. So
It's so funny that you mentioned books because I had a similar conversation with Farrell Dillon and he said the same thing. He was talking
Yeah.
about how certainly YouTube's out there and there's all that content, but he's like, you can find the best stuff in books.
Yep, yeah. Farrell is absolutely right. Like there's thousands of books written on magic.
Right.
And I mean, rather than rehashing somebody else's act that they're doing on YouTube, why wouldn't you, and take their pattern exactly the way they do it on YouTube, why wouldn't you want to go and learn the trick and then create your own jokes or your own script with that trick?
Sure.
So yeah, I agree with Farrell on that 100%. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And speaking of YouTube, was I correct that I saw that you had a channel going?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about that because I want to plug it. I'm going to put a link to that in the description of this video.
Yeah, so we're doing the magic moment. So it's just a quick little magic trick that you can learn. They take about 3 minutes to learn, 5 minutes to 5 minutes to about teach it.
Okay.
And it's pretty quick to learn it. So anybody can go to that and check it out and just learn some simple basic magic tricks.
Awesome. And how often are you producing content on there?
So we're doing that about once a month. We let things go about, I guess it's every 2 weeks, every month we put something up there.
Nice.
Yep.
It's fun, right?
Yeah.
I love doing the videos.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, I know that we're getting close to your performance, so anything you want to part with or anything that you want to plug, I want to make sure that you're getting as much out of this as you can as well.
Well, I have a trick for you, Michael.
You do?
If you want to see a trick?
I do want to see a trick.
Okay, all right.
That's the best way to end.
I'm going to have to use your lap as a table if that's okay.
Okay.
So there you go. All right. I don't know how well this is going to go because I need a table here. Okay. Have you ever done the pick a card, any card trick before?
I've been, yeah, I mean, I haven't delivered it, but I've picked a card.
Okay, so take a card.
Anyone I want?
Yeah, anyone you want.
All right.
That's good. Don't take that one. I'm kidding. Take a look at it.
All right.
Show everybody at home. All right. Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay, put your card on top. Don't let me see it.
All right.
Very good. All right, you remember what it was?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what happens to something when you tickle it?
It laughs.
It laughs, yeah. I will start laughing so hard that I will start turning blue. And if you tickle the angel here, watch what happens. Oh.
Okay.
Michael, how many there's a blue card there.
Yeah.
How many cards are there in a deck of cards?
52.
You should know that if you're gambling in Las Vegas, right?
It helps, yeah.
And out of 52 cards, there was one card that you chose, right?
There was.
And what was that card?
It was the 3 of hearts.
3 of hearts?
Yes, sir.
And there was a blue card, 3 hearts.
Oh my goodness.
3 of hearts. Put your finger right there.
Okay.
Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Take a look at it.
Okay.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Tickle with your other finger.
Tickle with this
no,
one?
No,
oh, this
over
one right here.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll
Yep.
make it happen again.
Okay.
Watch. Oh crap. That's okay. That's okay. Do you see blue card anywhere?
I don't.
Well, there was that
I see
one.
this one.
But what was that one?
The 3 of hearts.
Turn it over.
Okay. Oh my gosh, that's my new card. That's the one I just grabbed. Nicely done, sir. Very nice.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
it's fun. It's geeky.
No, it's
We're
good
nerds.
stuff.
Magicians are nerds, but we're fun nerds.
A little bit of free entertainment here, but if you want the real deal, you got to come see Laughternoon with Adam. He's a great performer. My family has been to the show and enjoyed it very much. It's family friendly. I really appreciate your time. It's been great to meet
Thanks,
with you,
Michael.
and
Thank
I
you.
hope that this helps in any way possible.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Appreciate it.
All right. Bye. Thanks so much. And if you're enjoying the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'd love to have your support. Bye-bye.
Cool.